ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our next panel discussion, which is on unlocking the promise of personalization with generative AI. And please join me in welcoming our panelists for the segment. This panel discussion is brought to you by Walk, an essential company. And our panelists for this segment are Sheetal Goel, Digital Marketing Head, Aditya Birla Group; Unmisha Bhatt, Co-founder and Chief Strategy Officer, Tonic Worldwide; Yatnesh Pandey, VP Marketing, Greenply Industries Limited; Shetanshu Dikshit, Lead Digital Communications, Pernod Ricard India; and our moderator for this segment is Biprorshee Das, India Editor, Walk. Let's give a warm welcome to our panelists and our moderator. Come on, everybody. And on that note, over to Biprorshee.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. And, you know, I knew she would pause for at least a second when she came to my name. Hi, I'm Biprorshee. Bipro, to make your life easier. I'm the India editor of Walk, and we are here to talk about unlocking the potential of personalization that generative AI provides. And I have a very, very interesting bunch of panelists here, simply because they represent the kind of brands that they do, and that gets me very excited, and I'm looking forward to learn from them the kind of insights that they're going to share. And in the interest of time, I am not going to waste any more of that, and I'll take it right to our panelists. And I want to ask each one of them, and ma'am, what is the one thing that excites you about generative AI, and at the same time, give me something that's also the concern that's on your minds?
Should I start?
Please, please. Sumitra.
Awesome. I think in one word, it's agility. And everybody sitting here would always look for speed. Deadlines are always as of yesterday. I'm sure everybody would agree. So generative AI definitely enables agility from that perspective. As far as everything has its plus and minuses, pros and cons. I think the con would be guidelines. The faster we can come up with guidelines, the faster we can have some sort of guardrails which can build some sort of security in the entire ecosystem. That'll be great. To give you an example, with voice generative AI, if somebody had to, or if a system had to replicate or train my voice and generate a duplicate voice and give a call to my family with my voice and ask for my card details, that would be the scariest shit, right? Sorry about the language. But I think guardrails, the cons would be to immediately look at guardrails and guidelines.
Thank you so much. And Yatnesh, why don't I hear from you?
What's the first thing for the generative AI comes to my mind is focus toward the solution, is focus to be job to be done rather than just keep giving the search and search option. Because I think recently one of the professor from the US university, they posted, search is the means journey. It's not giving you the end. And I think generative AI is the new things which is coming, which can give the consumers to the end what they are searching for it, what they're looking for the solution. So that's there is a pros and cons, and there is very early stage. But the focus to giving the solution, to giving the end to the customer's search journey, I think that's the most important thing for this.
What excites me about AI, generative AI, is the opportunity that it gives, right? So in every industry, generative AI has already proven to be something that they can do better than what humans can. And I think in the sessions in the morning, they were also talking about how creativity has been replaced, how generative AI is now doing music. text, image, everything, right? So I think that's what excites me. That also has a flip to the coin. That is also what scares me, because as Unmishad said, that there is no control on it right now. We have seen examples of Microsoft coming up with an AI long back, which just turned on itself and it started doing a lot of negative conversations and other stuff. So that's the other part of it right now, which is there is just no control, and we don't know how to control. And I think what Dr. Praful said as well was, even the people who have created these this generative AI, they don't know what it's capable of. So that's the scary part.
Thank you, Sheet.
No, I think three legs: personalization, innovation, and intrigue. I think these are the three aspects I'm looking for as a marketeer. I do see a lack of emotions. We humans are emotions. We are storytellers at the end of the day. So there is the lack of emotions, but I think every facet, if you look at, would have certain pros and cons, as the team said. But I'm looking forward to seeing how creativity can be married using the power of AI. Right now, it's too sci-fi abstract thing, which is trying to be decoded. We are looking at personalization. We are looking at rephrase AI technologies to kind of build campaigns. But in the next couple of years, I'm looking at some interesting creative solutions built and married using the power of AI. That's something which I'm looking forward to.
Thank you so much, Shitanshu. And I'm going to come back to this point, but before that, I want to ask each of the marketeer here that how have you used AI in your respective categories, and what's the kind of promise, and how has it helped you achieve the kind of objectives you've set?
Okay, so I'll kind of go first. Kind of we've done the loop. I'll
Sure,
go first.
let's do that.
So we do keep certain experimentative so-called budgets, and I'll tell you a campaign which we did recently. So using the power of so-called multiple talents and multiple Scilab voice video synthesis was created so that one can give personalized New Year wishes.
Yeah.
So you can choose different celebs. You can put in your message. A video is popped up in the next 30 seconds. It can be downloaded and shared. How many versions were created? Almost more than 1 lakh. But that's the power of it. It delivered a great punch in terms of the brand. It was for Imperial Blue, packaged drinking water. It worked really well because it believes in the power of unlocking the magic of human connections. So the brand purpose was there. The campaign was built on the power of personalization. The challenges, however, was that how do we make it more engaging, right? What is the novelty factor which we can build in? And that's the challenge which I see, because while it will be first in this category of Alcobev, we are still looking at novel ways to build more creative campaigns. That's the challenge, yes.
Certainly.
So at the group, so I work in Aditya Birla Group. At the group, we are exploring how we can use AI in various different forms. I think the closest that we're working on is a little to do with customer service, right? Because we have so many brands which require that kind of service, especially when it comes to finance as well as retail. That's where we're looking at AI, generative AI, to really help us, because there are a lot of consumers, they have a lot of questions, especially when it comes to your finances. So that's something that we're exploring. Results are still to come in.
Excellent. Yatnesh?
I think we also on to the more testing phase, only the one use case study. But before that, let me give you the context of the category. So in the home innovation, consumer purchase journey is quite long. It's quite a planned purchase journey, unlike the we have the services or this thing. It's non-glamorous but very hard market category. We have to do the all sort of the marketing in place. And for this, the consumer is simultaneously always looking for the exploration and evaluation of this thing information, because there is a high ticket size, but he lacks the information about the what kind of the material is going, what kind of the design idea has to go. So here, how I can do the personalized communication, that's very, very important. We have the one use case study. We signed the Lucknow IPL team last year. It was the first year entry of the IPL team from the Lucknow. And there was all the usual ideas was there, how to create a communication, ad, song and all those things. But what we came out, and during our study we found if we have to target the UP is a very diversified market. And we got the example of the how the UP last assembly election campaign has been done with the different song of the different clusters of the UP. So we created a very personalized communication, used the different set of the players, used the rephrase AI thing, and then we send those targeted communication, and we saw it has increased the consideration, increased the conversion, and we are able to get the brand result. So that's the way we are able to fulfill the customer, the consideration to conversion journey, or you can say the exploration to evaluation journey in a more customized manner to give them the personalized targeting.
Absolutely. And when you're talking personalization per se, it becomes very key in particularly in the category that you operate in. Like you were saying the last week when we were chatting about this, that nobody wants the same piece of furniture.
Yes. IKEA study has came out, and I think the more than 2/3 of the home buyer, they want to copy the interior idea, but they don't want the similar kind of the furniture which the neighbor's home has. And you see, another study what we were doing it, and in the recently, the earlier the traditional media, the ads were get sold based on to the media and the platform where it was belongs to. Now in the era of the connected devices, I cannot communicate on the same way I'm communicating to the UP customers to all. And within the UP, there are the different set of the customer. Within the different set, different tastes are there. So for the category like us, I think it can be the more beneficial tool.
Absolutely. Unmish, I wanted to ask you this, that do you think your clients fully understand the potential? How are you educating this? I mean, it is at the, what it is, and the way, how are we keeping pace with the way things are changing? And it's changing very, very rapidly. So how, as somebody who's representing an agency, how are you educating your clients here?
I think it's at a very nascent stage, and all of us are experimenting with these various platforms. So we have a separate innovations arm called Yellow Labs, and there is a team dedicated for AI who's constantly churning out information about various tools and how it can empower various skill sets, and all of that goes into a sort of newsletter called ETTD, which is Year to the Digital. So once a month, we have a newsletter which goes out to all our marketeers, where we enable them with all this information. Not just that, we also have quarterly sessions with our clients where we try and educate them. But like I said, it's at a very nascent stage where, like Shitanshu mentioned, and a lot of people on the panel mentioned, we are experimenting with campaigns. We've also done, we've got a platform for generative video AI, where we've created an interactive video campaign for a leading food FMCG brand, where people could go and choose the ingredients that they want to see in a recipe, and basis the ingredients that they chosen, a different kind of a recipe is generated. So it's personalization to another level. One is, of course, there is name, which is coming out, so the user feels like the video has been made for them. Secondly, the recipe is also basis what they are choosing, that level of interactivity and personalization. And those are the kind of things that we're experimenting with. I think creativity can take it to another level, and which is where HI will play a very important role, because AI can get as intelligent as the prompts. And at the end of the day, the prompts are defined, or the training is done by HI. So that is where, everything starts.
I'll just add to Misha's point. So for AI, I see it as a people challenge. We need to have a right set of people within the organization. As she said, there's a wing. Now let's look at the other side of the table. As marketing team, we don't have AI specific individuals within the team. We are given the task, there's a campaign, let's work it out, we learn something, we kind of fiddle with it, we discuss with agencies whom we're dependent with. I do see specialist role also coming out, just like the roles of creative strategists there used to be a couple of years back. There will be specific AI roles, just as the advertising side of things, they're built in. I do see it happening across this side of the table as well, but again, it will be a innovation experimentative lab which will be built in for the marketing side. Where I'm coming from is at ITC earlier, we used to have a specific squad, and I'm sure Misha will be a testimony to that. We had a set of squad which was built on data insights and creative, because we realized that the next way of working is more in-house. Bigger organizations are moving towards and getting pivoted towards that. It's high time that you get newer facets included and create a squad which is trying to create those value within the team and within the organization. And these will be the change agents which will kind of push the barrier.
Thanks so much for that, Sheetal. You want to add anything to that? Yeah, yes.
Actually, designations and talent skill sets which are coming up globally around prompts, technical prompts officers. So you're right.
Right. I completely agree with both Shitanshu and Unmisha that we have to have people, right, that who will actually drive this agenda, not just in the marketing team, but overall in the organization, because that's the kind of mindset it requires. Because otherwise, it just becomes a fad, right? It could become a metaverse, or it could become a NFT or something like that. It is not that. I hope it's not that. So that's something that we will need to invest in, both in people and in technology. So when you look at consumer experience, now Indians are known to ask for a more personalized experience. There have been enough and more studies that have been done around that. So to get that consumer experience, it is always going to be a marriage of function as well as emotion. So the function is where the technology comes in, where the AI and the generative AI will bring in its features, and it brings in its merit that it gets in. But the emotion is what the people will add to it. So whether it's the prompts, whether it's the human intelligence, how do we get that final personalization will have to be a combination of both of that.
Absolutely. And that's
I think I would like to add here,
Yes,
think we lacks the user case studies. I think there is a more and more case study has to be promoted. So that's maybe from the agency side. Because what we find from the net search is more about the global thing. But on the India level, those item case studies are not that much promoted. So maybe that can help us to the organization to more go for it.
Shetanshu, I'm coming for your experimentative budget.
Have it offline.
No, absolutely, and that's something I was thinking. When we keep talking about, when you're talking about artificial intelligence and automation, you keep talking about job losses and those and those fears, which I'm not saying are unfounded. But having said that, you'll still need that human intervention, right, to control the outcome, to provide those right kind of prompts. And I loved something that Shetanshu had mentioned last week, and he said that let's look at this. Let's look at generative AI beyond just mere copywriting. I mean, there's so much more to do with it. So I just have a few minutes left. So just quickly, a last question is that AI and creativity, an oxymoron, would you say?
I wouldn't. I think AI is going to make us think more creatively, because I think when we write the right prompt, right? And if you have used ChatGPT, the first time that you use ChatGPT, it will give you a response which you will not like, and then you will refine it, and then you will refine it again, and finally you will come up with something, and then you will copy paste it into some other platform because it still doesn't allow downloads, and then you will edit it all of it again, right? So I don't think creativity is something that or AI, generative AI, it's only going to support it. It's only going to enhance it. The humans are still going to help develop it further. But I think what it will do is open our minds a lot more. It will help us think in ways that we might not have thought of earlier, because we ourselves come with a lot of biases, come with our experiences, and that creates biases. ChatGPT or generative AI also has them, but in a very different manner. So I think it will always be a combination which we will further develop on.
Yeah, but agreed, yeah, absolutely. But my only concern is that it should not be a hack. It should not be a hota hai na ki jugaad. Creativity comes from within. There's a high when you write something. I'm a creative guy, unfortunately. And there's a high. You feel the happiness when you've created something, a masterpiece which goes live. Yes, AI will break the linearity. So there's a linear way of thinking creative, and it will give you a direction. But I do feel that there's nothing which can beat the humanness way of thinking. I remember when ChatGPT kind of came into action, the first thing which people put out on LinkedIn was their brand stories. I could see all of them putting out their brand stories in a couple of minutes, which flashed out. I read through most of them. They just lacked emotion. It was written by mind, not from heart. Stories are written by heart. I do feel it will be a big challenge, but where there's challenge, there's excitement, because I'm looking forward. I'm sure there'll be a lot of new avenues which will be opened up, but that's the fun. I do find it a bit confusing in a way, because there are very limited case studies, as Yatnesh said. I'm looking forward to those cases and maybe break those linearities as well.
Absolutely. Anything you guys want to add, Yatnesh and Sudhanshu?
No, I think we should not take any binary view whether it's a creative or the copy on this thing. It's still on the evolving stage, but it's gonna be the supplement for the creativity. Because ultimately any prompt is based on certain algorithm, and algorithm is going to scrap and then get something on this thing. So unless until we will not give any those creative inputs, the prompt will give you what the output is there. So that's the, I think is we should not be the binary toward any on this thing. Let's see how it's going to be the support.
Absolutely. So there's still hope for us blazer-hating, long-hair people. So like I see it, and I mean, based on the discussions that we've had, I think, I mean, it's a personal opinion, as long as we use this as an enabler. And I think, in the course of our discussion, I noticed that somebody would just, when it's like ChatGPT is almost becoming synonymous with generative AI. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more than just that. But what I am essentially getting at is that as long as we use this tool as an enabler and not something that's just making us lazier, I think we should be in a good space, don't you think? And in the few seconds, less than a minute that we have, I'd be glad if you to answer any questions if you have any questions for the panel, please. Yes, we have a question.
Hello, is it better now? Yes. Okay, perfect. So I just have a question on the largeness of generative AI, and I mean ChatGPT, and marketing. The idea is, how do you really deal with ownership? Because today the question is, who really owns anything that's produced by ChatGPT? So how do you as marketers really deal with ownership and protecting the work that you create and put up on various platforms?
I think that's a very good question, and this brings me back to the original, the starting point of the session, where we do need those guardrails and guidelines which can help us protect copyright to the work that is generated out of it. Because at the end of the day, whatever AI or GPT-4 or whatever the other generative AI tools are going to produce is going to be basis the training that has been given by a human. So at the end of the day, you do want rights to that work as a brand and as an agency. So really looking forward to some sort of body which comes together and starts putting these guidelines. And there are also tools which help you identify if there has been any sort of copy. So for example, today when we interview candidates, and if there's an assignment which has been given by them, a lot of times when you put that assignment into that tool, you're able to identify that they've actually used ChatGPT to answer that assignment. So it's very easy to figure out, firstly, whether this is original or not, thanks to more tools and more platforms. And then, of course, we can have guidelines in play as and when the industry evolves.
Sorry, I'd like to just add to that. It's not just a marketer's problem right now. It's not just about how do we ensure our copyrights or our brand copyrights are being not infringed upon. I think it's an overall content issue right now. There is so much content, and all of these generative AI models have been taught on this massive amount of data that has been existing for years, right? So it's not just about how do we protect our brand assets. It's about how do we protect all content, right? So as Anmisha said, we need some bodies, we need some regulations. I think it's still so nascent and it's still so not understood that creating those guardrails themselves can be different, right? Because what we knew about generative AI 1 month ago is now almost obsolete because it's changed today, right? So creating those guardrails, we will have to work faster than what the generative AI is actually generating. So I think we still have a long way to go protecting all content and then maybe marketing content.
Thank you so much, panelists. Yes.
All right. Unfortunately, we can take any more questions, but I'm sure our panelists will be around and you guys can obviously, of course, approach them. So thank you so much for this. Thanks for staying with us.